Hello everybody, Rahul is currently working in a manufacturing company and he recently received an offer from a startup company. And let's look at some of the numbers. Rahul is currently earning 13 lakhs per annum. 12 lakhs is fixed and 1 lakh variable pay. In the startup offer though, he is getting 10 lakhs of fixed, 6 lakhs of ESOPs and 3 lakhs of variable pay. Now, if you are in Rahul's position, would you take up that offer or not? Please don't answer maybe, just answer yes or no in the comment section. Now, before I share my version of whether Rahul should pick that offer versus not, let me share in this video a few realities that you should expect when you go and work in the startup space. The first reality is about peace of mind. It is very difficult for you to have a peace of mind when you start working in the startup world. The reason is pretty simple. Startups never prioritize processes. Building a process takes time and also it needs certain level of investment. And unfortunately, startups neither have money nor have time. So process building is always an afterthought. And this leads to people becoming more powerful than the process. So you will see that founders determine the culture within a company. If the founders are good, the company culture could be good. But if the founders are bad, then the company culture is definitely bad. And unfortunately or fortunately, if these companies after a few years decide to build the processes, a few people are already above the process, and hence it becomes very difficult for a newcomer to come in and join a company. Now, what happens as a result of processes not being set up? If you join, you don't know when or what is the reason for a recognition or a reward. Recognitions and rewards are definitely not given for good behavior to start with. They are reserved for pleasing people. As long as you manage your manager, your boss, you are in good hands. You don't need to care about your juniors, subordinates. That's an afterthought. That is the reason why, again, 60 to 70 hour weeks in the startup world are very common. You don't at least see these 60-70 hours weeks in big corporate companies. Now, the other myth with respect to the startup world is, hey, at least you will learn a lot. I agree, you will learn a lot, but unfortunately, you already need to have an expertise, or you need to know a domain, industry, or you should be good in your job role to get into that position. If you don't, there is already somebody else who is offering that expertise and who wants to pick up that role. If you join that company and if the need changes, then there is no scope for upskilling. There is no scope for trainings. Again, startups can't spend that kind of money on trainings and upskilling programs. So they rather go and hire new people. So it is very difficult if you want to actually learn on the job. You grow organically, but you cannot pursue any trainings or any upskilling programs for your growth in startups. Before we jump into the financials, a quick request for all of you. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel because more than 75% viewers of the channel are not subscribed. Now let's move on into the financials of the startup world. The first thing that you need to understand is ESOPs. ESOPs is nothing but employee stock option plan, which means the company is valued at a certain amount and you are participating in that growth trajectory for that company. So you are given a small piece of the overall company value. If the company valuation is $30 billion, then you might get, let's say, 30 lakhs or 40 lakhs. And if the company value is growing, your stock options value will also continue to increase. But we all know how the company's valuations are dropping down. Byju's valuation, for example, has dropped down by 90%. If you have taken ESOPs from Byju's, the value of these stocks would also go down by 90%. The questions you should be asking is, who is determining this value? Did the value go up or down in the last few months or years? What if I want to sell these stocks? And what is the current value of these stocks? Well, there are success stories far and few in between, like Flipkart. When Flipkart was bought over by Walmart, a lot of employees who were working for Flipkart previously could sell their stocks and make a lot of money. But unfortunately, this is one of a kind. It does not happen every single day. So please don't consider ESOPs as a base of your compensation package and take it only as a risk element. So if I were in Rahul's shoes, shoes, I would definitely not pick up that offer because my fixed with the manufacturing company was 12 lakhs per annum, but with the startup, they actually reduced my fixed to 10 lakhs per annum. The only reason is ESOPs is only a part of risk game for me. For me to move from one company to another, my salary should at least grow, my friend. Even with all the negatives that are associated with the job, if my salary is growing, I can at least take a risk. Now, the next financial issue with the startups is the jobs are not stable. Well, forget about the jobs. The companies themselves are not stable. Convoy, one of these startups in the US, which was valued at $3.8 billion in 2021-2022, has recently filed for bankruptcy. What does it mean? Its current value is close to zero. And ESOPs, definitely zero. And these things do happen in the Indian market as well. Zest Money, they recently shut down their doors. And the ESOPs, again zero. Employees were asked to leave. These kind of situations do happen in the entire corporate world, but the frequency with which these happen in the startup world are much higher. Now, you might ask me, hey Pavan, are there any conditions at all when we should join a startup? Absolutely, there are a few conditions. The first one being, if you don't worry too much about your financials. If you say that, hey, I already have 1 year of emergency fund, or I have a lot of money from my dad, or whatever could be the other reason, and you don't worry about money too much, then go ahead and take that risk. If it works out, it is great. If it doesn't work out, you are okay too. The second reason why you could potentially pick a startup is if you are applying for that MBA abroad, because MBA admission officers would prefer candidates who have taken risks and have learnt across different scenarios compared to the folks who have stable jobs. Well, they are not paying my EMI. That's a different story. But if you need an admission into their college, that's the criteria. So you need to know what you are working towards. If you have EMIs, if you have a lot of financial liabilities, then definitely don't consider it, at least right now. The market is really, really bad. Now, there is one more fundamental question that you need to answer going forward as well. If you go ahead and start interviewing again, your next potential employer will definitely ask you that question. Hey, why did you leave your prior job in 8 months? And you might have to say that, hey, that was a startup, the product did not work out, and the company itself shut down. And unfortunately, employers do not believe in these answers. So you tell me, what would you do if you are in Rahul's shoes? Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.